Hello. Last week on Tales of Amnesia, Lunar Eclipse, session 14, I don't remember what happened except for Wampas at the very end, and apparently somebody peed their pants, and there's yellow snow. This is episode 15, and apparently we're next to a giant gold dragon. This is
Did you
news to me.
seriously not remember that at all?
I remembered the Wampas.
You guys really need to become more memorable storytellers.
I see.
Yeah, obviously.
My
think he
brain
was.
is just totally fried right now.
Grant was partially asleep last week.
That's entirely possible. I don't remember. I've also been working since 5 a.m., so...
Excuses.
Things are good.
Trevor knows what it's about.
I know.
Yes, there were frost trolls at the end of last week that were surrounding you, Wampas. It's also, a common name that some people call them, I suppose. And they did all get barbecued a bit by a gold dragon during a flyby that slammed down on the ground next to you as you all look out from your snowy little hovel. As you do, the dragon seems to be sort of walking like a concentric circle around you and just staring straight at you as it does. Is there anything you'd like to do?
How deep is the snow? No, I'm kidding.
Probably like, we'll say like 15 inches.
Can anyone here talk to animals? Ember.
Yeah.
I mean, dragons.
A dragon can probably
technically are not
understand
animals.
us. It almost certainly can also just understand us. It can probably
Yeah, that's
speak
probably
common.
true. Oh my gosh. What's the size of the dragon? What's it looking like right now? Give me some. How big of the paws?
I don't know how big the paws are.
Diameter,
this is definitely
please.
a large dragon. This is probably like 3 adult horses end to end sort of thing.
Okay, so probably a little younger. I'm not looking at an ancient gold dragon, correct?
You're not looking at an ancient dragon for sure, but it's probably an adult.
An adult. Okay. Would I know if there were ever rumors of a gold dragon or a name that it went by up in this region that we're traveling
Give me
to?
a history check.
Okay, living on a prayer. Well, that's a 4, so things are good. I don't know its name. Thank you for dealing with those wampas.
Oh my gosh.
It continues circling.
Is it? Can it? I know we're in a blizzard, so can it? It looks like it knows that we are in the circle.
Oh, yeah,
that he,
like
okay.
it is
Yeah.
making sort of direct eye
Actively
contact,
circling.
sort of scanning, kind of like as you imagine like a wolf circling in on prey sort of thing.
Hyoba, can you help us in this at all?
Yeah, what's Hyoba doing right now? Does she look freaked out or?
Very. Just
Okay.
shivering on your shoulder.
All right, you're useless.
I'm gonna ask her, do you know this dragon? Does this guy look familiar to you?
No. That's a little racist, but you would assume so.
Do you know him?
You don't all know each other? You all look
I'll look alike, right?
I haven't met another dragon since I was 3.
Okay, well.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Jeez, I don't know. It's just circling us, right? Does anyone else want to talk to the dragon?
I'm terrified, probably.
Yeah, you guys have never seen. I mean, none of us have ever seen a friggin' dragon.
No.
But these are
I guess it's worth mentioning. This dragon is a relatively traditional, I'd call it, to all of you, the players, like European-style dragon. This is like 4 legs, big meaty wings, long tail.
Okay.
You know.
We mean you no harm. We are just trying to
Is that like a Dory speaking whale?
Yes.
We come in peace. We are just trying to pass through here, and the blizzard has held us up. We want zero trouble, and I bow and slowly look up at the dragon.
It's a dragon, not a hippogriff.
I don't understand that reference.
Gosh, I do.
You hear a sort of like low, subdued, but you almost feel it as much as you hear it, just growl. And then you hear immediately afterwards, each one of you, not with your ears, but in your mind.
Oh, I don't like that.
You hear a question.
Oh, puzzles.
What is the shape of your mind?
So, wait,
Each one of you heard this question.
do we know that each one of us heard this question?
Not necessarily.
Not
unless
necessarily.
You all heard,
Did you
unless
guys
you
just hear
reacted
that?
to it. Yeah.
Okay, John, hear what?
I heard a voice ask me what the shape of my mind is.
I heard that as well.
Totally
Did
thought
you
you were going to play it off
answer
as if you didn't hear it.
What? I didn't hear that.
Guys, I'm trying not to stall, okay? Did you answer the question?
No.
Did anyone else hear said question?
I would nod.
I'm standing over there just like this is
This can't be happening. What is the shape?
I would probably hologram what I know of a brain, knowing a lot about the human body.
Yeah.
I would.
And I'm gonna say, like, you have like a hologram up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I think he means like something deep. I don't think he means the actual shape of our brain. I think this is a riddle. Do you know what a riddle? Do you have riddles from where you come from?
Yeah, but that's
Probably
usually
not
like
in
a
the Deviant
sphinx
Collective.
thing.
What's a sphinx?
Never mind, you wouldn't get it.
I feel like you probably would actually know what a sphinx is.
You think so?
Yeah.
I have sphinx and amnesia.
You'd at least be aware of.
Okay,
That
I
means
know
it.
what a sphinx is. I get that reference.
Well, there you go.
Thank you. Does anyone else feel like this is more of a riddle and less of a what is the actual shape of our mind?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
What is the shape of your mind?
our minds. Are we talking about? He's got to be talking about like our imagination, right? A mind. The shape. What do you guys think? Why are you laughing, Alora? You got any ideas?
Nothing.
You're the
Nope,
bookworm.
no.
What's your books tell you? You're writing it down? What you got? I'm just a little street
Got
rat.
nothing.
All right, well, I'm just spitballing here. Can we ask it a question?
You can certainly try.
What if we answer it with a question? What is the shape of your mind?
You hear back, I am she, the unceasing.
She is she the unsheathing.
Unceasing.
Unceasing.
She sells seashells.
I did that up.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. She damn she.
Okay, wait. Can you say it one more? I need to type it out real quick. Can you say it one more time?
I am she, comma, the unceasing.
I am.
Is
Does
she asking us our name? That's how she answered. She.
Can I gauge whether this she is like a title like she SHE, or is this like a Chinese spelling XI she?
Can we see
Like
the genitalia
like it's her
underneath?
name.
For the sake of simplifying, because I don't know how you would gauge it, it is SHE.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like a.
I will just give you that as a DM.
I am she, the unceasing. So she's okay. Girl power, cool, never ending. I am.
I am he, the damaged yet malleable.
What's she's response to that?
She breaks the circle and turns and like very slowly starts like approaching with her head very low to the ground, and narrowing in on Iggy specifically.
Is she growling at this point or no?
Give me a perception check.
Is that specifically your fear?
Yeah.
It's a 25.
Okay.
25. She doesn't appear to be growling. She seems to be smelling. Definitely a lot of sniffing going on. And you can see her eyes moving quite a bit. Just looking over.
I can't remember if at the end of the last session, I know I ignited the Pharaoh Blade, but I can't remember if I...
Yep. If you remember
turned it
igniting the
off.
Pharaoh Blade.
I think you just held it out in front of you.
Well, I ignited it with the Wampas. But I don't remember if I would or did turn it off when the dragon showed up, because I don't remember.
I don't believe you
dragon
did.
showing up. Okay.
Because like dragon
in
showed
that
up
case,
and then we acted. So
in that case, I would probably get into a pretty defensive stance.
Sure. She gets, I'd say, maybe 15 to 20 feet away from you and sort of like lifts her head up a bit and just sort of turns her head to the side so she could look with, one eye and
Right.
look you over. And you hear back specifically, not everybody else. You smell of those who burn the stars.
I come from the stars. Have you encountered people who other people who have come from the stars?
Are you answering out loud or in your head, by the way?
I think I would try to answer in my head.
Are you he who burns the stars?
I don't know. I live on a star, and I blow things up, and I have an affinity for fire.
You are he who lets the stars burn.
Interesting.
That's a cool title. I'll take it.
What's my name? What's my name? No, I'm just kidding.
All of the rest of you other than Iggy hear what is the shape of your mind again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Iggy, what did you say yours was?
I
Damaged but
said
malleable?
damaged yet malleable.
Can I take the RNO tooth necklace and hold it up in front of the dragon?
Sure.
Okay.
You can see the one eye sort of track it. It's obvious to all of you. I mean, some of you have spent more time around animals than others, but this dragon seems to be on edge for what it's worth, watching very closely. She looks at the tooth and sort of like very quickly like snarls and like throws her head to the side a little bit and goes back.
Interesting. Okay, so she wants us to give a title for ourselves, I guess.
I will try to reach out with my mind and tell she or her that I am she the immovable.
So strong.
You hear back. She is unfamiliar.
Did she like come down and gaze into Laura like Iggy or no?
Yeah, she definitely looked her over for sure.
I guess I'll try to reach out. Noticing that now it looks like they've talked. Iggy and Alora maybe have
Sure.
communed. And I'll say, I am he, the incorrigible.
You'd probably also hear back, he is unfamiliar. Your fear, give me a insight check.
Is this thing from the stars? Insight. 18.
She was looking you over quite a bit, just sort of all up and down, your eyes, whatever. At some point, she locked on to the two blades on your back and has not broken gaze on them since.
Well, one is still strapped to my nub.
Either way.
So. Alright. Like I've noticed this, if I move my nub around, like having the light glisten off the blade, what is she doing? Is she just like still eyeing it?
Definitely watching it closely.
Can I reach out with my brain?
Sure.
Do you know Yorva?
You'll have to excuse me. There's many factors to consider in many of these answers. Have he used her well?
That's a trick question.
Is it?
99% of the time,
Right.
I have.
Does he break or build fate?
Does he break
Or both?
build fate? Does he break or build fate?
Fate or both? I'm so glad this is confusing.
I'm building a new fate.
You are he who builds fate.
It's not as cool as burning stars, but that's pretty. I'll accept it, I guess.
You haven't heard the burning stars bit. That was only to me, buddy.
I am he who builds fate. I hope.
Her head kind of cocks to the side when you say that. Would anybody else like to talk?
Take a stab.
Yeah.
I would probably say he the desperate, and while I say that, take out some of my... reveal my leads. Not fully extended, just
Right.
partially.
There's definitely like it like head backs up a little bit, right? Doesn't take any steps back, but it's just wary. Looks over the legs. With that 18 your fear, you'll also notice that ever since the point that you that she noticed it, even as she's looking over Vidar, she's glancing back at the blades. Vidar, you see her look over your legs and then sort of look over you. Give me a perception check. Yeah. You also notice her focusing in, not on your legs. Those she seems to lose interest in over time. She focuses in on your very metallic arm and chest and a handful of other bits. Is also locked into a shiny bit of metal on the side of your head. And asks, are you he who witnesses the sequence of the Reckoners?
What the heck? That's a long one.
I'm unfamiliar with the Reckoners.
Do you deny their sequence?
No. I don't know. Probably not, as I'm unfamiliar.
Are you he who masters the horizons?
I don't think so, no. I have not traveled the horizons.
Naka feels like one who would master the horizons.
Are you he who burns the stars?
No.
He is unfamiliar. Any other swings? Or it's just a lot of messaging back and forth. So Steph, I don't have video from you. I don't know what's going on there. I can hear you.
Yes.
You want to try to rejoin the call?
Naka looks up at the dragon and says, I am he who masters the horizons.
You see her sort of pick her head up and sort of look at you with both eyes. You hear back. Do you advance or fracture them?
I advance the horizons.
He who advances the horizons.
I would like to reach out again. I am he who breaks fate.
Is he undecided?
He doesn't know what fate we're talking about.
You see her just a little bit, but you see her sort of like shake her head and look away from you.
After looking up the definition of reckoner on my data pad, I would probably be like, yes, that one sounds familiar. The witnesser of the sequence of the reckoners.
Do you obey or deny them?
I'm neutral. I think there is value in them, but they also lie.
He who witnesses the sequence of the reckoners.
Hey, there she
back.
is.
Yay.
More questions?
Can I have a okay? This was directed at DMs. I said I was Fate Builder, and then she said I was unfamiliar. Correct?
I don't
Or-
think. No, she
No.
said she was familiar with your original, whatever you threw it was.
Oh, okay. I misheard her. I thought I typed it down as I was unfamiliar. Okay, that's my bad.
I believe she said undecided.
That was the second time.
Your very first thing you threw out there, she said she was unfamiliar, and then after looking you over for a bit, asked if you break or build fate or both, and you said build new fate, and she said you are he who build fate, and then you came back and said I am he who breaks fate, and she said he is undecided.
Undecided. Okay, I typed something down wrong. Okay, all right.
Ember, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think I would, in my mind, say I am she who endures.
You hear back. You are not unceasing.
Shots fired.
I would ask, what am I then?
Are you she who breaks and builds fate?
No.
Are you she who observes the order of the sky?
What's the third option?
Are you she who hears the whispers of beasts?
Yes, that one.
You she who hears the whispers of beasts and men, or she who hears only the whispers of beasts?
The whispers of beasts and men.
She who hears the whispers of beasts and men. He who lets the stars burn. He who witnesses the sequence of reckoners. He who advances the horizons.
I am he who breaks fate.
He who breaks fate. And she the undecided.
She the unfamiliar, apparently. And who might I be?
She who hears the whispers of beasts.
No.
She who observes the order of the sky.
No.
She who breaks and builds fate.
Not that I know of.
Does she witness the sequence of reckoners?
No.
She master her the horizons?
No.
She is not splintered.
Splinter?
You see her eyes move and lock into Hyoba. Steph, I know I can't see you. I'm assuming you can hear me though. Okay.
Okay, better.
After a few seconds of her staring at Hyoba, you feel Hyoba sort of like tense up. It's also worth noting that every time every one of you have had a conversation with this dragon, nobody else has heard it. After a few seconds of what appears to be silence. The dragon sort of pulls back further than it has for any of your conversations, and then takes several steps forward and leans in close to Hyoba and tilts its head to the side and sniffs.
What is Hyoba doing?
Probably shivering even harder on your shoulder.
I think I would take a step back.
Actually, give me an insight check as well.
Okay. $19.
19. Hyoba definitely seems fearful, but also intrigued. Very, very interested in this dragon.
The dragon takes several steps back and starts to like bend down, and as she does, you see the individual scales on her body start to like move along her skin, and as it does, there's like her actual the scales start to turn color, and the wings start to fold back, and you see her entire body begin to like change shape and morph in front of you, almost like almost a little bit of a golden mist that starts like pouring out along the ground. And after a second or two, you look up to see what appears to be a dwarven woman, in like a mix of like tribal clothing with bits and gold accents, and she is holding, comparatively to how tall she is, a relatively long scythe that has a long wooden handle, and the blade is made entirely out of gleaming omnite.
I take it this doesn't look like a farming tool scythe. This looks like a weapon scythe.
Correct. It is
Dope.
drawn, and she's still being careful with it.
Does like the craftsmanship on her scythe look like the same of Yorba and Rajkar?
Give me investigation.
It's a 21.
21. It's a bit hard to see from this distance, but there certainly are some commonalities that you can notice.
Okay.
They're both made of omnite.
Alright. Cool. Interesting.
You hear her, all of you hear her now say out loud, they are divided.
Is she looking at anyone when they say
All of you.
that? Oh. We are divided?
They are from two very different worlds.
She now, more human, looks back at you a little confused. All of you give me a perception check as well.
I can't see anything. Well, I mean, I guess it's still a 14. I've got a good modifier.
11.
16.
7.
9.
All right, everybody above a 15, you hear.
So Ember.
I got a 21.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
You hear alongside what appears to be the woman in front of you as she reacts to it as well, the sound of distant, somewhat muffled, like howls. Given your recent run-in with them, it sounds like there's more wampas not too far out.
Is there a safe place nearby we could go? She. The unceasing.
Not for they.
Okay.
What about half of they?
She turns away from you and starts walking just opposite direction.
Hyoba, like, sort of stands up straight on Ember's shoulder and out loud says, "Wait!"
She stops but does not turn around.
They are trustworthy.
They are not splintered.
But they protect splintered.
You hear Ember, another howl off in the distance, and your fear. She turns around and starts walking back towards you all, and comes within like 10 feet or so of all of you, and she looks over all of you very intently. You can also see from looking over her, all of you would have met dwarves in the past. It's like she looks like 95% of a dwarf. Like there's almost like a touch of uncanny to it, including her eyes, which still tend to be very much like slits. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Are they unceasing? Or are they dreaming?
Is all of this out loud, or is this to Hyoba?
This would be out loud.
Unceasing. This is to Hyoba, right? We're not supposed to be answering, correct?
It's hard to tell. She's looking at all of you.
I certainly feel like we're dreaming. I mean, we've made it this far. Are we unceasing? We're awake, right? We're not dreaming. We've been told partial truths. We've been red.
She told me that I wasn't unceasing.
You weren't. Oh.
So by that logic, am I dreaming?
Naka starts slapping his cheeks.
So she told you you weren't unceasing.
Right.
Are the
As a reminder, she called herself unceasing.
Right. Hyoba, are you unceasing?
That is what she says.
Are you also splintered?
That is what she says.
I feel like these are both terms for dragons,
This is a
or
dragon
qualifiers
thing.
that apply to dragons. Unceasing could theoretically live forever.
yeah.
Dragons can theoretically live forever, as far as I know. And splintered would make some sense if they have, like, I can think of physical characteristics of dragons that could qualify as splintered, as well as like kind of metaphorical manifestations, like they can become so many things.
Can we ask the dragon if she is splintered? To see how she responds?
Do you ask her?
Yeah.
She hears your question, sort of looks down on herself and goes, it's like shrugs almost.
Duh.
You're dreaming.
Give me an insight check. I think everybody can give this one.
My gosh.
A 10.
You got an 8.
13.
Wow.
Nat 20.
18.
Nat 20.
Nice, Alora.
Okay.
You know everything.
I think it's pretty safe to assume from your intuition and from the last question from Naka that splintered seems to be some sort of dragon analog. You do notice in terms of the question that she's asking right now, dreaming or unceasing, she is more than at any point in the conversation clenched onto her scythe extremely tightly.
She's worried about something. Okay.
Could she be worried like Hyoba was worried about us
We are.
revealing that she's a dragon? Do you know what I mean?
We are friends, not food.
I'm still in my kind of defensive position. Am I unceasing?
Again, I'm going to ask for the whole group for a history check.
Okay.
This will be my last, I guess, bit of hint that I'll throw out.
We
22.
don't have history. Is it
22 lore, yeah.
Lore.
15.
Oh,
18.
27.
Oh,
16. Wow. Did you say
Nat 20
27?
plus 7. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What?
okay. His data pad just.
This isn't necessarily direct information that's just going to light bulb it, but something that sort of floats into your memory. The last time someone addressed Hyoba directly outside of your party, Hyoba was asked a question. Or I guess alluded to a question of effectively, I'm forgetting the specific language of it.
I just found it. It's not too late for you, little one. Choose wisely.
Are the dragons working
So the
together?
dragons divided?
Seems like it.
Yeah, the dragons must be splintered.
Or
Should we ask
unceasing.
her?
Or dreaming, right?
Yeah. Is Blackthorn? Should we ask if would she know Blackthorn? If there's a division, would finding out if Blackthorn is unceasing or splintered or dreaming help us?
I wonder if this is a qualifier for the state that a dragon is using their power to further, as in, like, this dragon is unceasing. They are a dragon, and their motivations are to further their existence as a dragon, as opposed to someone like Blackthorn, who is using his power to further his existence as a disguised member of society. So he's dreaming. He is not primarily a dragon. He's primarily this political figure who happens to be a dragon.
Interesting.
This is still
As
the best
opposed
part of the
to
DM.
she, who is primarily a dragon.
It's a good
Is there
guess.
anything you'd like to say or ask?
Should we ask her about Blackthorn? They probably
That seems a bit
wouldn't.
dangerous,
That's a
right?
stretch. I mean,
I don't know that we want to bring up Blackthorn in the event that is a hot button issue that could trigger her, regardless of how, if we bring up Blackthorn, and regardless of what way she feels about Blackthorn, our opinion of Blackthorn could then put us in danger.
okay.
Hyoba said that she was unceasing, right?
Hyoba said that's what
She says.
she said she is.
That's what she said.
Did we confirm, was Hyoba a silver dragon or white dragon?
You're muted,
You didn't come
Steven.
through, Steven.
Thank you. Silver.
Got it.
Okay, but I feel like
Though
I feel
not
like
not a standard European dragon. Just to be clear.
She a wacky one.
Yeah. I believe it was specifically Aztec inspired. But yes, silver.
So when she was referring to they, was she referring to the Celestials or all of us except for Hyoba?
All of you.
Can one who is not splintered be unceasing?
Yes.
I am unceasing.
Give me an insight check.
Nice.
She's definitely working to be hard to read, but she does seem relieved by that answer. Any other answers?
Did 80 say that one out loud or in his mind?
Out loud. I think all of the conversation since she turned into her dwarf form has been out loud, correct?
Yep.
If I may express this out of character, I believe this is a question, extension of the kind of idea that I presented earlier, where like, is Blackthorn primarily a dragon versus a political figure who happens to be a dragon? I think this is like a, are you trying to be yourself in your kind of truest form, or are you
Dreaming,
trying to be something despite who you are?
Oh.
I don't know if I worded that exactly how I mean, but that
becomes very interesting.
I am unceasing.
She is unceasing. He is unceasing.
So, okay, I just, as a point of clarification, splintered would not be an option here. We're looking for unceasing and dreaming, correct?
yeah.
She did
And
ask
splintered is-
specifically, are you unceasing or dreaming?
Okay, thank you.
I
just wanted to
think
make-
splintered is specifically dragon.
Did we ask what dreaming and unceasing is, or have we tried to ask?
We did not.
Oh,
Something tells me we wouldn't get
I
a
don't
straight
think
answer.
we would get.
Yeah, no.
Grant, you defining those just made it a lot harder.
That's also
I'm not
Grant's
even-
guess. There's no.
Yeah, no,
you know.
I mean, it makes very good sense. I like where your head is at, but I also don't like where your head is at, because that just made my answer a lot not as clean.
Does anybody have any questions or statements they'd like to make?
Did you tell your definition idea to the group? Or is that just like outside of the game?
That's probably metagaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is super
I'm assuming.
metagaming.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that's fine.
Then I'm gonna say, with that knowledge as being that was metagaming, I'm gonna say I am unceasing.
He is unceasing.
Come on, try it, Trevor. You won't.
That's metagaming. We already metagamed once this session, okay? We can't do it
We're
again.
allowed to have conversations outside of character. Right.
Yeah, you guys are doing it over DM.
I don't think your fear is picking up on, because Trevor's not picking up on anything. So I don't think the character of your fear is understanding the scenario. So I think he would just be following along with whatever
That's
anyone
fine.
else is saying.
That's reasonable. That's a strategy.
If
right?
we're going with
Is
like,
there?
if I knew what if Iggy had said the defining thing out loud, then it would have been another choice. But
I'm curious. I would like to continue insight checking.
Yeah, I guess you
after
had that
each
18,
response.
right? So every response
19.
so far, the 19, every response so far has resulted with a similar sense of
Okay.
relief. A compounding sense, I would say.
Is there a difference pending the conviction with which the statement is made? Because I feel very confident in my answer.
oh,
I don't think enough of a difference that you would notice.
Okay.
because your fear sounds unconfident, very not confident.
I had a feeling that might be the case.
I might have ceased once or twice.
Ceasing has stopped occasionally.
She explicitly told me I was not unceasing, though, correct?
She
That
did early
was-
on.
That was something that was said at one point.
Give me an insight check for that, Ember.
Okay.
I wonder if that was contingent
6.
upon some of your answers to the other questions.
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If I boldly declare I'm unceasing, will she be relieved? Or
Because you went through the rigmarole of trying to find a name through her and then picking the one that you thought most lined up with you, as opposed to kind of zeroing in on it without her guidance. If
but I
that
feel like
makes
everyone
sense.
did that.
There was some. I feel like there was some specifics, like, you know, got the general idea, and now we're just trying to get really specific with everyone. Whereas yours
Sure.
was specifically
Well,
like,
I
don't
knew
know
it
what
wasn't
that
the first
is,
two.
What's
I knew it was whatever the last one was. I knew it wasn't the
Yeah.
first two.
I might be misremembering, but I do believe that the "you are not unceasing" was in response to your first guess.
Oh, okay.
You said you were not resilient.
Enduring.
One who endures.
Enduring.
Endure, yeah.
Doors? Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna follow suit with everyone else and say I am unceasing.
She is unceasing.
I'll do the same.
He is unceasing.
As will I.
It is safe for the unceasing.
I will retract the Pharaoh blade.
You see very much in reverse of what the original transformation as the scales start to like flow back into her arms and she grows larger and larger, now into full dragon once again. And she now walks over around you and then behind you and starts sniffing out the speeder specifically.
That's our horse and carriage.
Not right now. We turned off the keys.
Oh,
it looks
that's
like
right.
the speeder.
It's a
off,
speeder.
right?
Forgot.
Can I?
Can you heat
Could
it
you
up?
fix it? Can
With
you
your-
fix it?
Can you
With your fire?
Your fire breath create a pathway for us?
They will move.
Can we all get on the speeder? Like start it back up?
Maybe she's gonna pull us. They will move. So get
We
the.
will try.
You will fail.
What do you do?
Get in the speeder.
Yeah, I think we get in the speeder. Yeah.
All right. You all sort of take a step towards the speeder, and she puts like one claw on the speeder and bends down towards you and says again, "They will move."
We're ready. Move away. No.
Naka, do you want to turn over the engine?
Yeah, so I started up.
To be clear, you have not gotten to the speeder yet.
No.
Oh,
As you were walking towards it, she got out
she got
and
down.
looked at you.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll walk towards the speeder
Keep walking towards the speeder? Yeah.
and try to like gauge, is this what you want us to do?
she that gets on it and like gets in between you and the speeder.
Oh, okay.
Okay, not what you
Says,
want us to
They
do.
will move.
I'm gonna turn in the opposite direction and start walking.
Whatever direction she is facing, I want to just go off to the side. As if I'm trying to clear a straight line in front of her.
Okay, sure. All right. So
Does
off to the
that
side.
garner any like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing kind of
It
idea?
does not garner any more aggression.
Okay.
Guys,
I follow
maybe-
suit.
I think maybe go off to the side.
She waits a moment until you all sort of back up a good 20 or 30 feet or so. And then she takes 2 steps off of the speeder, inhales deeply, and blasts the speeder as hard as she can with her fire breath. And there is fire licking up all of the snow in the air. You can feel the snow sort of like sinking beneath your feet. And she sustains this for several minutes. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Is it melting the speeder? Like destroying it or just heating it up? Can we tell that?
Sure, give me a... What in the frick would this check be? I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is like targeted because we
Sure,
have
give
already
me
done
perception.
the inspection to figure out, like, we know what the problem is, why we are having issues.
Sure.
17.
Sure.
19.
Yeah, that ice was gone maybe in about 4 seconds.
Oh,
Got it.
and she's still going.
Minutes.
Oh,
Is the speeder like
it's gone.
melting
Speeder's
and
melted.
disintegrating?
Yeah, it's gone.
Several minutes later, when she finally lets go, there is black ash where that speeder once sat.
Good.
Oh.
Good.
Tight.
So we know move now.
I'm going to very cautiously move toward her.
You all hear in your heads again, we are bonded. And then she takes her wings that are like folded up on her back and like holds them out and up.
I'm gonna continue moving toward her, toward one of her legs, and kind of like, I would like to try to project with my mind the same way that I was communicating with her before, like, is this okay? And I'm going to put a hand on her as if I were to indicate that I wanted to climb onto her.
You hear back, he will not.
I will remove my hand.
Will not.
The attitude on that was not intended, but I'm glad it went.
That's
She moves her wing over top of you, and the snow that was falling on your head does not seem to be doing it.
Now we're just gonna walk now.
It's probably also noticeably warmer.
Okay. So
Where shall we move?
underneath her wing, I think.
She starts walking.
Yep.
Is it a
We're
pace that
walking.
we can keep up with?
Yes. She is not at a full gait.
I'd
I
do an
will walk
SJD
alongside
probably.
her.
Under
Yeah.
the wing.
I'm also under the wing.
As she starts moving in a direction, she takes a short detour and maneuvers and then picks up 2 of the frost trolls in her jaws and starts carrying them with her.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm hoping this is some kind of threat to any wampas that might get in line of sight.
I'm worried this is dinner.
At least
Why does
it's
that
not
worry
us.
Meat is meat.
You guys walk for a while. The blizzard is coming down just as hard as it was before, but the shelter of the wings seems to hold the worst of it back. Especially those among you who may not be quite as vertically gifted, probably have a hard time trudging through, what is probably 1.5 feet of snow. And probably find it a bit easier to walk immediately behind someone and let them sort of clear a path. Vidar, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could walk straight over all of this with your spindly spider legs.
Yeah.
Can I use can I ignite myself and just try to melt a path as I walk for people to follow in?
Sure. Yeah. When you do that, you notice the eye on that side of the head sort of look back at you and study you a bit. Your fear over the course of probably 90 minutes to 2 hour walk, you also notice regular eyes going back to your two blades. As you guys continue to march on, the blizzard's certainly coming down, which makes it hard to see more than, 30 feet in front of you or so. But you don't see landmarks at all. You might have as well have been walking in circles for all of you know. Ember and Hyoba, is there any sort of interaction, conversation happening during this walk?
I think I would ask Hyoba as quietly as I could, knowing the dragons can still probably hear us. But are we safe to trust her?
I trust her more than I trust the other.
Okay.
To be fair, that's not saying very much, but that's fair.
Can Hyoba communicate in the same way that she has been?
You hear in your head, no.
After about 2 hours or so of walking through the snow, you all feel the snow relatively quickly start to, like, the ground seems to be deeper and deeper beneath the snow. And what was originally about 18 inches becomes 2 feet, come really quick, becomes 3 feet really quick. And it's like, at this point, you are like shoving your way through this snowbank.
And I mean, continuing to just try to melt all of the snow around me, can I also be trying to, like,
sure,
part the Red Seas, sort of?
Right.
Just with,
For
like,
sure.
continually, like, force pushing snow out of the way?
Yeah. You all keep pushing through. Eventually you get to the point where the snow is sort of reaching your shoulders. It looks like also at this point that the dragon, who has up until this point sort of been like staying above the snow as much as she can, actually puts her head down and her wings and pushes down into the snow, sort of like carving and pushing forward. And as she does that, there's probably a bit of a strange sensation where those of you in the front of the pack go to take a step down and you feel your foot break through the surface of the snow, and then there's a gap of an inch or two of air, and then you find the floor again. And then you take your next step, and then there's 6 inches of an air gap, and then you step down again. And you keep moving forward, and this gap begins to widen and widen. And eventually you manage to push your head down and through, and you look up and see a solid snow ceiling that seems to be shimmering in a soft blue, as what appears to be some sort of magical force field is keeping all of the snow above ground.
She has a fortress of solitude.
After a moment of
She
probably
is Superman.
your eyes adjusting,
Super she. Okay.
you find yourself in what appears to be a cave entrance, maybe 10 to 15 feet wide, and sort of goes down a little ways and curls off to the left.
We continue to follow she.
Yeah. After a few seconds and steps walking forward, she sort of shakes her wings off and throws wet snow all over the place. It probably gets all over you. She doesn't seem to pay too much attention to that. And just folds her wings up and then starts walking forward. And you all follow her, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
As she rounds the corner, you all find a very unexpected sight. The first thing that takes your attention is the ceiling of this massive cavern, probably several hundred feet across. What appears to be a single massive unbroken omnite gemstone that seems to be smoothed over from end to end, almost like a skylight. When you look up, you see as if there was no snow at all covering the surface of the ground, looking up and seeing sort of the sky and the clouds blowing over. This giant skylight lets out light over the course of this cavern, which appears to have dozens and dozens of small, I guess you could call them houses, carved into the stone of a variety of sizes, some very small, some very large. Large as in the size of a dragon, and small as in the size of like a birdhouse sort of thing. And littered throughout this entire open cave are a wide variety of animals. You see several dragons, as like in addition to the one you walked in with. Walking around. Some of them seem to be grooming themselves in one fashion or another. You see what appears to be two different polar bears that are pushing a large stone sort of across the floor and like rolling it around. You see a handful of birds that are like flying back and forth throughout this small village. Just kind of a mishmash. You also see what appear to be several humans just walking around. Some seem to be cooking, folding various pieces of fabric and whatnot. They all seem to be just sort of living, coexisting, all in this small underground oasis. One of the last things you might notice that this cave seems to be circular, and it kind of domes down in towards the center, and there is a circular looks to be almost like gathering place right in the center, where there seems to be like almost like blue like a magical energy that seems to be flowing out of the very bottom center of this cave and up into the crystal above. Yes.
Is anybody looking at us? Is our arrival something that people are taking note of?
Sure. As you walk in the cave and continuing to follow the dragon you came in with, she starts just taking one of the paths down towards the middle, and every eye is on you. as you pass by.
Can I pick up on any of the thoughts of the animals around us? Like, are they afraid that we're there? Are they intrigued that we're there?
I believe your beast speech, by the way, is not telepathic. I believe it's like you can understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Give me animal handling though.
15.
I mean, you're passing by like various like squirrels and dogs and birds and whatnot, all of which seems to be watching you with an uncanny intelligence. And I also, as a freebie, might remind you of the dragon sitting on your shoulder that is in the shape of an owl.
Right.
As you walk through and you see several of the homes pass by, you see a couple of birds fly into a birdhouse. You see a full dragon walking into a giant like cave in the earth as it sort of like crawls up in a ball in one of those bits. You even see several houses that almost look like impressionist sort of attempts at what appears to be a common human-shaped houses, and humans walking in and out of them as they're doing various chores.
Can I telepathically ask, are they splintered?
Yes. We are all splintered.
Feel like I don't know that I would have a good reason, a good like basis of knowledge to kind of have this reaction, but I feel like it would make sense to respond to that with "we are honored."
Yes, they are. They are needed.
How can we help?
Since I didn't vocalize any of that, I feel like I would try to make eye contact with everyone and kind of like wordlessly sort of like kind of try to like charades like but like as not offensive as possible, like just try to communicate the idea like they are all dragons and like be on your best behavior.
Sure. As you guys are walking, I won't make you roll for it necessarily. You all are seemingly fascinating to every single living thing down here. There are two things that draw significantly more attention than all else. One is the owl sitting on Ember's shoulder. The other are the two blades, one on Yorfir's back and one duct taped to his nub.
Did we establish with Blackthorn, with the interactions with Blackthorn, that Hyoba could tell that he was a dragon and he could tell that she was a dragon?
Right.
Despite their form?
Right.
So all of these other dragons know that Hyoba is a dragon, and likewise.
That would be a reasonable conclusion. As you walk down towards the sort of center platform, you see just a number of the beings that were down there already sort of like back up and almost like give you an amount of space, and almost very inhuman, very like just curious animal. Like it looks like the entire town is just silently sticking their heads up and around stuff and just watching all of you. You see dozens of eyes in every direction. It is eerily quiet and probably a bit unsettling.
Does it seem like we're walking towards any specific like notable structure?
The center like gathering place type thing, it just appears to be what looks like a ring around, I'd almost call it like a bonfire type thing.
And we're walking towards that big massive blue energy?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and my apologies, you've gotten down to that at this point.
Gotcha. Can I take a look at my Omni and see if he's having any kind of physical reaction to being so close to what I assume is like just pure Omnite energy?
Sure. Yeah, I would probably say both Finch and yet to be named, to my understanding, at least in game, are glowing bright. Brighter than you've probably seen either of them glow.
Interesting.
But it doesn't seem like dangerously unstable bright.
Not at this moment. Okay. I'd say even Iggy, you might notice that your yet to be named Omni seems to be shaking a little less than normal. This seems to be a soothing feeling. The dragon you came in with turns around to look at all you, and says, they are welcome to sleep here.
Thank you.
And
goodbye,
to
Steph.
sleep.
She took it real seriously.
She was very tired from the walk in the snow.
Welcome back. She takes a few steps back and joins the hordes of other dragons that have all just sort of like backed off of the meeting thing, and all of them continue to stare at you.
Or if your waves his knife stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
What time is it? Is it like bedtime? Is it still afternoon?
I'd say it's late afternoon. It's maybe a little early to sleep, but you're also probably a little tired.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Is there like a fire nearby or anything?
Yeah, a big blue one right there.
Yeah, there's not necessarily a fire, but you do feel an amount of heat that seems to be coming from that magical energy that's flowing up.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go sit down by it.
It probably feels more like sitting out on the beach under the sun than sitting next to a fire, though.
Perfect.
None of us have had traumatic experiences regarding beaches.
I'm trying to remember. I think that's actually a true statement, right?
Didn't we crash land on a beach?
No, you didn't crash land on a beach.
You have been
Why did I
calling
think
it
that was a
your
beach?
rock. You've been calling
Oh,
it
that is true. You've been calling it your beach rock, but we weren't on a beach.
No.
I definitely thought that we were like on the shore of a river or something.
I can show you where you landed. There was no. Nope. That's funny.
Whatever.
It's okay. Trauma, it jumbles it up.
Yeah, I get.
Is there anything any of you'd like to do before you go to bed? With hundreds of eyes just staring you down.
Not me.
I'm less confident in Iggy's thing about their form now. If there's some humans and animals, I don't think it's what form they take. But
I don't necessarily think that it's what form they inhabit in terms of like keeping themselves safe. But like, do they believe in their identity as a dragon?
Are people are the things still like looking at my blades?
Yep.
Are they like getting close, or are they all like staying away from them?
No one is approaching any of you.
Okay, cool.
Can I ask Hyoba if she knows why they're staring at Trevor's blades?
Trevor doesn't have any blades. But your fears?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
They're blue.
They're blue and shiny.
Your fear, give me a perception check.
16.
Maybe I should have made a note to mention this a little bit earlier, but as you're sort of walking around and walking through this village, you probably spot a dozen different Omnite bladed tools and weapons.
Are there any symbols relating to the remnant in here?
Not that you can see.
Would I know how old? Well, never mind. No, that's a stupid question. Don't worry about it. Did Forge Storm have any children or like apprentices?
You don't know that.
Is Forge Storm the one who forged Yorva and?
Yeah. Rajkar.
I wonder if that entity is a dragon. Who may or may not exist in this colony.
Don't know. I don't think your fear cares enough to find out yet.
Fair enough.
Is there anything
Go to bed?
the rest of you would like to do before you go to bed?
I will say the one-handed man has yet to receive any actual medical attention.
What are you talking about?
We cauterized it.
Cauterized his. Cauterized his thing.
Cauterized. I've took a long rest. I have full hit points. I'm
Long
great.
rests do not restore missing hands,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, being that it's mid-afternoon, I feel like we could at least have a discussion about.
Orpheus is just rubbing his ghost hand. Just.
Vidar, do we have this? If your fear were to wish it, do we have the pieces that you would need to create an appendage for him?
So every couple level ups, I can create a new appendage, and the DM said I just have those materials. So maybe not. I guess that's a DM
with a good check.
question.
I feel like, Stephen and I have yet to talk about it. I feel like you would have the necessary stuff. The complication would be, can you pull it off?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a one thing when you surgically remove a limb for the sake of intentionally replacing it. It's another thing when you just cut it clean off to spite your old buddies.
Yeah. And it might not
And
be
then
as
burn it.
functional.
Then burn it off.
I mean, we can reopen that wound.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, just take another inch off. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just like when the prosciutto gets a little hard, you just slide the next layer off, and then it's fresh.
That's
good.
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll also, this is a bit metagamey, but theoretically the next place you're going to is an academy. Theoretically they might have some tools that might be helpful in that kind of thing. Should that
But,
be
like,
something the
do they
recipient
have
would desire?
these kind of tools?
Probably not, but
Just saying. Orpheus, are you gonna join the brotherhood of dudes with mechanical arms?
are you actually asking me that?
Yeah.
One is just a hand; it's not an arm.
Okay, well.
Would you like it to be an arm?
I mean, he'd probably could do it better if you wanted to get rid of the whole arm.
I'm not sure yet.
DMs. If this were to work out, would it just be replacing? There are stats for these that I did,
Yeah,
but then just
so-
generic stats for
We
prosthetics.
haven't actually talked about this, but I was thinking that it would be one of your prosthetics,
Okay.
like one of the biotech engineers' prosthetics, with the DC changing based on the rarity of the
Prosthetic. Okay.
modification. Yeah, but we haven't officially talked about it, so.
yeah, we can
Okay.
discuss it. So, undecided on that.
Once that information is given, I would probably present your fear with the options of what I could do. But
It's like a little menu, different hands.
yeah,
It's
One
like
of them's just the Lego
cyberpunk
guy.
Just like, yeah.
right?
Insert.
Do you have a dinosaur? One of those little
Yeah.
cookie things?
Can you make like a spring-loaded launcher that I could just put Finch inside of and just shoot Finch as an object at people?
Could probably Assassin's Creed, give you that and then shove Yorva in there? That'd be kind of.
There is a harpoon hand that makes your hand a harpoon that you can shoot out of your body.
Hang on.
What?
Vidar just said a harpoon hand, and Yorvia went, excuse me.
All of a sudden, he's super interested.
I don't know why.
Yorvia was like, wait, hang on. Did you say something about a harpoon hand?
Yeah, we'll talk to later after I talked it over with the DMs. But
You mean I could launch my harpoon into a ceiling and swing like Indiana Jones and finally get my whip?
I mean, if you wanted to do that, I could just, you could. I have a grappling gun.
Wait, what's a grappling gun?
I've used
it once,
this
right?
several times. Yeah,
I don't remember.
that's how we
It's been a
got out
long
of
journey.
the
I'm dealing with some trauma here.
cave
I cut my own
when
hand off.
Vidar was having his first major
Oh,
episode.
that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, through the ceiling. I forgot about that.
I've used it a few times.
I'm not opposed to a robot hand, but I need to think about it.
You could do cool stuff like this, and I spin my hand around like I was doing with the Pharaoh blade.
would your type of arm work without a Pharaoh system, though?
Yeah, I would think so. It's not dependent on Pharaoh. It's just enhanced by
okay.
Pharaoh, right?
It's probably a version built to work with Pharaoh.
Got it.
But there would
Specifically,
be
you have
similar models.
a little clicky thing for your Pharaoh blade.
I know
Yeah,
you're
quick disconnect.
pretty good with those computers, but am I gonna like lose all sensation in my arm with you jamming a metal rod up in there?
I poked my arm. Do I feel it?
I don't know if there is a rule for this in Star Wars 5e, but I would say, I'd say probably. Like I feel like
Are you
this would be
Figuring
advanced
that out
enough.
at this point.
Yeah, you like a
it's
Yeah, the
technology of
technology.
future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you want the whole
Sure.
arm replaced, and then obviously not.
I still need to kind of blend in with society down here.
you can wear a glove. You were already wearing a glove.
Yeah.
That's right. I can
Yeah.
change my glove color
Yeah, there you go.
to match my blue and orange poncho now. I guess how long would it take you to surgically implant a hand into my body?
8
That's a
hours.
DM
We'll
question.
talk about it.
Alright.
Based on just the base mechanic rules,
It's
8
usually
hours.
8 hours.
Isn't it 8 hours per level of rarity or something?
No, I think it was the time was dependent on the size of the creature.
Oh, yes, you're right.
And then the
8
DC
hours.
was dependent on the rarity.
All right. We'll discuss it another time.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else they'd like to do before they go to bed?
I would probably just want to be like, examine's not the right word, but like trying to get in tune with my Omni.
Sure.
Trying to attune with it. You might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Omni definitely seems. There's not a lot of loud noises down here, which is nice. It's also feeling pretty good from the sort of energy.
Omnite energy.
It is also being stared at by a lot of things, which is a little unsettling. You all probably feel a little bit on display. So it's a mix.
How
Joke's
close
on
is,
you, I'm into that.
How
How's
close
that,
is she to us?
Probably within 20 feet or so.
How long have we been sitting here?
I don't know, 20 minutes.
And everyone's still looking at my swords?
It's a lot of staring. There might be a little bit of movement now, but mostly staring.
Everyone's just locked in like.
Okay.
Is your sword doing anything?
Yeah, my swords doing anything? Are they glowing extra bright?
Actually, maybe probably a little bit.
Are the
Probably.
voices in my head? Are the voices in my head getting louder?
So,
No? Okay. I'm gonna look at she. I don't even know how to ask this in her talking language, but why is everyone staring at my swords? You haven't taken your eyes off of them, and everyone in here hasn't.
we missed them.
Does this cave look familiar to me? Like a connection of something? No? How long have they been away?
Before she hatched.
And how old is she?
She is early.
You can't ask a girl
Watching
that.
Miranda's reaction to that is glorious.
That was Allura too, definitely. Like, oh wait, no, I wouldn't have heard that. Never mind. Forget it.
She is
Not
less
ancient.
familiar with human tongue. But in human tongue, she is Dagus Forgestorm.
She is Dagus Forgestorm. And I'm nodding, like meaning, like you are Dagus.
She is Dagus Forgestorm.
Wait.
Valdar. Dagus. Who is Valdar to she? And I don't even know if that is grammatically correct in Dragon, but there it is. I tried to put the proper pronouns.
Who be Sushi?
Not familiar with Dragon tongue, but try hard.
He is our namesake.
I'm not hearing this, but I do have a question. Is our singular or plural?
Every other time that it's been singular, she has used she.
Like, I'm wondering, are the rest of them?
That's what my next are. I can't remember how she described are they, and I'm like motioning to the rest of them, the same namesake?
We are the Forge Storm.
That's dope as fuck.
I hope Iggy says that out loud.
Iggy's not hearing this conversation. And also, that means nothing to him. I don't. Have we been given the lore on Yorva and whatever? I don't know if we have.
I don't remember if it was at the Christmas.
Naka, I believe, was present for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no, everyone was, because that was when what's his name came down off the ship.
The
to meet you
ship.
guys.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry. And like everyone's still like eyeing, like me, right?
Especially, yeah.
No? Okay.
Especially now, there seems to be lots of eyes.
Norfear doesn't know if it's the warmth of the magic flying around, but he holds the swords in his hands and looks down and says, "Do they need these back?"
They were gifts.
Are we talking gifts directly to someone, or like, you know, time finds a way gifts?
They were gifts to protect the unsplintered. From the splintered.
Does that mean Eternus was a splintered? Wasn't this used to kill Eternus?
Yorva was not used to kill Eternus.
Oh, okay.
But another
a weapon.
another of Forge Storm's
Storms.
weapons was.
Yeah.
Got it.
This can be out of character. Remind me, splintered, unsplintered.
I believe the running theory is splintered means
Splintered
dragon.
is dragon.
Splintered. Okay. Protect the splintered from unsplintered.
No.
Other way around.
No, protect unsplintered.
From the splinter.
From the splintered. Okay.
Not. I don't think it was necessarily from
Or is it
splintered.
saying it's
Just
like
protect.
from the splintered?
Oh.
Like
I
a
want to
gift
clarify
from the splinter.
as to not add any extra confusion because you've got plenty of intended confusion.
Yeah. This is
The full sentence was
Thank you.
to protect the unsplintered from the splintered.
From the splintered. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was just a gap as he was thinking.
Right.
okay.
Did they work?
They are sharp.
You see her once again pull back her scales and, focus back down into a dwarf again, and slowly and cautiously approaches you. And holds out her hand.
Am I supposed to put my nub in there or the swords? I'm gonna put my
What's his nub?
nub just
In her hand.
sluds in her. No, I'll take the swords. I'll like motion to put Rajkar in her hand first and to like see if I'm making the right motion, because I don't really know what she's doing.
She'll help you out a little bit. She'll motion towards Yorva.
Okay, I unduct tape Yorva from my stump. Wipe it off a little bit because there's probably some stump juice on it. Infection.
What?
Gross.
She holds it sort of very carefully with two hands, and you can see, like, even with this very sort of like alien culture and everything, the amount of like reverence there is for this thing. And she turns around, and as she does, like almost immediately, like 3 or 4 other animals like come up and they like look it over as she gives them the chance. And then she walks over towards the very center of the room with that sort of magical like energy that's flowing out, and she holds it out in front, and you see it slowly sort of rise up out of her hands. And as it does, that energy sort of swirling up into the blade as it starts rotating slightly. And it starts to glow sort of brighter and brighter. And after a moment, there is a release. And you see blue and white energy sort of popping up around and begin to swirl around the room. And for the first time, the rest of you start to hear the voices that your fear has already heard so many times before. They're unpleasant. There's no question. In addition to hearing them, you can see many of them swirling around. At first, what appeared to be a handful of voices, some of which might be partially familiar. The first to come out is very familiar to one your fear. If I remember, the last person that you took down with Yorva. It extends back to a handful of different remnant members, if I'm remembering correctly. It was the first couple people since the transition. And then it keeps going. And more and more and more and more of these souls start pouring out of Yorva. Soon there are hundreds of them. And your fear, it's probably a bit of an intense experience witnessing what appear to be hundreds of souls, some extremely uncomfortably familiar, spinning around this room. It keeps going well past souls that you're familiar with, over what appears to be hundreds of years more of use by who knows how many users before that. As more and more, thousands at this point, souls start pulling out of this thing. To answer your DM'd question, yes, your fear, you absolutely do. Eventually, towards the very tail end of this sort of eruption happening, you see several souls emerge from the blade that seemed to be much larger than any human. That's what appear to be the ghosts of dragons start swirling about the room as well. And after a few more seconds of lingering, everything begins to swirl back and coalesce and seal back into the blade once again.
When the dragons, everyone could hear their, I don't know, were they talking? You said everyone could hear, or were they screams?
It seems to be, on the whole, an unpleasant experience for those involved.
What's the general vibe of all of the other people, dragons, watching?
Unsettled.
Is it like, okay, it's not like reverence or awe or anything?
No. I think there was almost immediately very unsettled.
Okay.
The blade floats back down into her hands, and she very slowly walks back over to Yorfir with it out in her hands, and she says out loud, so many unsplintered.
This is the first piece of this conversation the rest of us have heard, right?
I think so.
I think Yorfir is probably very overwhelmed and is crying at this point.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Let me see if I can add something else. Yorfir, could you give me an investigation check?
Yes, give me 1 second. I'm just typing what Caleb said so I can. You said investigation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I don't like that at all. That was a natural 20.
This would have been early on, like very early on in the event, so you likely would not have been quite so distraught yet, and would have realized that notably there were not a few Al-Khuli soldiers present.
What? There was missing Al-Khulis.
Was the little girl in there?
Yes, I heard her voice.
Okay.
Was the little girl from Elysium?
Yes, the one that I accidentally murdered. Wait.
She hands you back Yorva. Do you take it?
I think, yeah, hesitantly.
Valdar hated the war. Needless loss of Unsplintered. He made these so the unsplintered could protect themselves. But Valdar hated death even more. Valdar's weapons do not kill, they seal.
That's dark.
Can we... restore?
She does not know.
Yorva's just one massive soul gem.
Caleb's waiting for a realization he doesn't think hasn't happened yet. Steven's waiting for the same thing. Grant.
Wait. Wait. Okay, hang on. You said that the spirits came out of the blade, but then they went back into the blade?
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to come out because you put them in the thing.
Right.
It's like files in a folder. We just checked them. How's this? Valdar made many weapons.
Is Omnite powered by the dead?
Some people do think that.
Did Valdar make the Alsham lance?
She is unfamiliar.
Elsham Lance wouldn't have been Omnite powered.
I'm just throwing things at the wind. I'm not smart enough to get it.
What was the Ultram Lance?
That was the mining laser that...
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
I think we gave you a list, at least at some point, of weapons that Forge Storm created.
Me?
Didn't we? Or did we not?
No. I know of the spear, and I know of Rajkar, and I know of Yorba. That's the only things I know of. I'm looking through DMs.
There's one other sword.
How am I gonna hold that one? I say that out loud. What?
You do know of one other sword.
I know of one other sword.
Give me a history check.
Is this like a WoW thing where 19. There's a sword the size of a god?
The most famous weapon in all of Elysium. The only weapon that was used to kill a god.
It's I'm
Deicide.
sorry, a deicide. I screwed up. I forgot there was a sword. I thought it was a spear. My bad. Deicide. Yes.
Sure.
So, Turnus's soul is trapped inside of Deicide. Sealed inside of Deicide. Turnus is not dead.
Where is Deicide?
It's in Vita Nova, the Capitol building.
Weren't we just there?
Yep. I've tried to steal that thing so many times.
He definitely has.
Were all of his weapons used to protect from the splintered, or only Yorva?
All of Valdor's weapons
We're made to protect.
were made to protect from splintered. Unsplintered. Were tempted otherwise.
Was Eternus splintered?
I asked
Eternus
that
was
question.
God.
So God is not dead?
He's surely sealed away inside. This one.
So he's surely alive.
Living.
Is living on the inside?
inside?
Is he roaring like a lion?
No, he's living on the inside of Deicide.
All right, that's enough.
Sorry, Caleb.
What would happen if we return Deicide to the Forge Storm?
Forge Storm don't release souls.
What?
That is for Rajkar.
You said Watchdog?
Rajkar.
Rajkar.
Okay, I'm sorry.
After Eternus, Valdar made Rajkar.
Rajkar is your other weapon? Question
Yeah.
mark.
That's my sword breaker.
So that's how
yes.
you release souls? With your other weapon?
It Rajkar's only weapon that can break a Forge Storm weapon.
So if Rajkar breaks it, the souls are free? Where do they go?
You know, around.
It is not for you to know.
Does Rajkar have to be included to allow these souls to get to this place?
Rajkar is the key. It is a seal breaker. There freedom is theirs after.
But they could not break the seal to this place without being broken by Rajkar.
Rajkar was Forge Storm's repentance.
So if I break Yorva now, the souls are set free to go where they want.
The souls are set free to go where they will go.
Can I walk over towards the pillar of energy and hold out my Omni to it in kind of the same way that she held Yorva? I'm wondering if the energy that powers Omnite is potentially souls, are there like identifiable souls within my Omni that would be revealed by being exposed to this?
So you're saying like Finch is an actual soul, basically,
right?
That chunk of Omni.
Yeah, you can hold out your Omni out into that. It starts to float up. I mean, it already floats, but maybe float sort of against its will necessarily. And you start to see it glow like brighter and brighter. And although you're not familiar with Omni body language per se, whatever the frick that's supposed to mean, even in your short day of having it, you could see it's shaking and seems to be scared of whatever is going on.
I don't know if it's moving against its will. I guess I will pull it.
Yep, you manage to pull it out. When you sort of like touch it, when it comes close to you, you feel it is like hot to the touch.
Okay.
And slowly starts cooling and darkening down to a more reasonable shade.
Okay. That's fine. Heat doesn't bother me.
I know.
Why did Valdar have to do it this way? To trap souls to be freed later.
Valdar hated war. Valdar hated the war.
The war being the war of 1,000 years ago? Or are we going further back?
No. the dreaming and the unceasing.
Okay, what is this war? This is not the War of Eternus.
No.
When did the Dreaming and Unceasing War start?
It is not known.
Is
it still ongoing?
It is unceasing. Splintered that are unceasing, and splintered that are dreaming often use unsplintered innocent unsplintered to fight their war. Baldar hated that war. But Valdar hated death. Valdar created the weapons for the unsplintered to use to seal the splintered until peace, until time to unseal. But he never achieved restoration, only release. Or consumption. Baldar's weapons all can consume for power. It appears he who breaks fate already knew this.
Is that why the Alkuli souls were missing? Those souls were consumed?
He got a charge, and he spent it.
So every time I use a charge, I'm eating a soul. And so when I use the special power of Yorva, it eats a soul.
I think you've got a charge right now.
From your buddy.
And if I were to use that, that soul would never be
unrecoverable.
It would cease.
That's dark.
That's a lot of weight to put on a guy who's killed a kid and killed another kid and... Okay.
But you didn't have the ability to get charges before, so the kids that you've killed are safe.
Rajkar unseals and also reveals the sins of the wielders.
Of the wielder?
You just didn't start noticing your soul-sucking abilities of Yorva until you picked up Rajkar.
So it was sucking the souls before, it just couldn't use them?
Couldn't use them until I had Rajkar.
Didn't know how.
What? But if I break the sword right now with Rajkar, then they all go free.
They go where souls go.
And like inside the sword right now, they're like tormented because I hear them. It's not good in there.
She does not know.
Slightly off topic.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Kind of going off what Steph said in our chat, but I was having this thought before. We know what Ember's view of what happens to someone who dies is? They become an ancestor. What is Alora's and your fears? Is there an afterlife where you guys come from? Is it?
Yes, for us, once someone dies, they have to make the journey across the Omnite Sea, and then if they make it, they will live in the afterlife with the gods. If they don't make it, a lot of people believe that their soul is used to power Omnite.
And then your fears? Okay.
We are atheists. We believe in a void.
Any paradise that was promised is been rescinded the moment they struck down that god.
Okay, see,
it is unknown. They don't know.
We don't know.
Got it.
We killed our god. We're our own paradise. Like our whole thing is that we killed our god and we were gonna make paradise on Elysium, essentially.
Those who break and build fate.
I would like to phone a friend and contact the keeper.
Okay, what's the question?
For
how much of
for
this
a question?
How much of this was telekinetic?
You mean telepathic?
Communication?
Yeah, that one.
Since she put the blade in, she's been in human form and has been talking openly.
I would like to ask the keeper what the earliest recorded mention of the ethereal realm is. And I'm curious if it coincides with roughly 1,000 years ago.
I don't believe that ethereal realm specifically is an actual term. We may have used it accidentally. The closest thing that we have talked about is the ancestor plane, or the ancestor realm.
Yeah.
Then I would like to alter my question to be that. And I'm curious as to whether or not it's roughly 1,000 years ago. I imagine the earliest recorded mention of the Omnite Sea is roughly 1,000 years ago.
As are the earliest recorded mentions of all of the cultures.
Right.
That's the problem here. Is
that's when things started getting recorded.
the Keeper's records only go back that far.
Yeah.
Because he was a Desian collective robot, I guess.
Right.
So
he was here.
Right.
Oh, interesting. I assumed that he had some amount of just history on each of the, whatever history existed on the cultures that existed before.
Transitions over time.
Okay. Ember was saying though before that the ancestors was here before Dicats, and that was right. He was the one to set the answers straight. Right. So if that was to be correct, then
if actually he's the one who
split the plane.
Right, split the plane and put the ancestors under the god's control.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
So not set them free.
Specifically did the opposite of that.
Yes.
Set the ancestors free. And could there have been
a whole other brainstorming session after this?
Yes.
could there have been a big explosion at the same around the same time that Dikax set the ancestors free?
Dikax came on the comet.
Right.
That created the maw.
Right, which also created the Omnite Sea.
Actually, in Alkuli history, the Omnite Sea has existed.
Yeah, that would have predated it.
Yeah, the Omnite Sea predates the gods, actually.
Yeah.
How? I don't understand that.
Remember how we
the
said
Omnite Sea? Yeah, the Omnite Sea. Have I misunderstood this, or is the Omnite Sea the sky, the Omnite cloud?
That's how most Alkuli are like taught to understand it. Is they look up and that's the Omnite Sea up there. As all Omnesians are taught that up there is liquid Omnite as far as they can see. That's what the sky is. That's why it's blue. It's also midnight, so I don't want to go too much longer.
But I feel like we're just getting somewhere.
Time to shut it down.
I'm sorry, I stalled for too long.
No. There's a lot of
information,
important conversations.
Is there a shop in this town that you were freaking out?
No.
Are there any other questions or comments or things we want to do before we close it up?
I don't know. I feel like I have to stew on all of this information now.
I feel like I'm 50% right. I feel like
I didn't say that I had 50% of the whole picture. Just that of the things that I said, I feel like 50% of them were correct.
I think before we take a rest, I think Naka would scoop aside Iggy and give him a nudge and like hold out his hand and say, just ask next time.
Yeah. I will give the Pharaoh blade back.
And then I think Iggy like stares at that blade after all this talk of the other blade and wonders how many souls were killed with it.
You mean Naka does it?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Naka.
all right.
Oh, I would make it a point to ask everyone else what their name, if they figured out what their name was with She the Unceasing, because I was the only one who did not pick out a name.
You did not pick out a name.
So I would figure out which one was left. And
if you'd like to hear
over.
some options, I'm happy to read through them again.
I think wasn't it observes the Order of the Sky?
Witnesses the Order of the Sky, I think was the only one that was not taken.
Those who observe the Order of the Sky was the first. Yeah, that was the one that was not taken.
That sounds like you.
Do you
Why does that sound like me though?
Because your gods are like fighting over the moon and the sun right now. Right?
do you
Moon and the sun.
honor the Order of the Sky, or do you deny it?
I don't know. The Order of the Sky.
Weren't the moon and the sun like in love or something?
Shh, let me think.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about this as a group.
No, this is a monologue you're just hearing, Trevor. Chill out.
I deny it.
She who denies the Order of the Sky.
Said that very confidently.
I'm pretty confident about it. Yeah.
But she is not one who wishes to split the sky.
No.
Just denies it. Wonderful. So we have she who hears the whispers of beasts and men, she who denies the Order of the Sky, he who breaks fate, he who witnesses the sequence of the reckoners, he who lets the stars burn, he who advances the horizons, and she the Unceasing.
And
Troop
not
33.
that you ever heard it, but they the unceasing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. We'll pick this up next week. See y'all later.